In the peaceful village of Nurabad, nestled between rolling hills and serene rivers, lived a kind-hearted farmer named Ahmed. Known for his generosity and wisdom, Ahmed was beloved by all in his community. His life, filled with simplicity and faith, reflected the teachings of Islam. This story follows Ahmed's journey as he navigates through challenges and finds peace in the wisdom of his faith. Ahmed's farm was the heart of Nurabad, supplying fresh vegetables and fruits to the villagers. One year, a severe drought struck the region. The sun scorched the earth, turning the fertile soil into dust. The once vibrant fields were now a desolate expanse of withered crops and dry, cracked ground. The village's main river, which had always flowed generously, was reduced to a trickle. The drought brought with it a wave of despair, and the villagers whose lives depended on the land were gripped with fear and uncertainty. Despite the growing despair among the villagers, Ahmed remained hopeful. He had always believed in the strength of his faith and the wisdom of Allah's plan. Each day, Ahmed would go to the mosque to pray, seeking guidance and strength from Allah. He found solace in the rhythmic recitation of the Quran and the calm, steady presence of the other villagers who came to pray. Ahmed's heart was filled with a sense of peace, even in the face of adversity. One evening, after a particularly heartfelt prayer, an old man approached Ahmed. He was a traveler, his clothes worn and dusty from the long journey. His eyes, though tired, held a spark of wisdom and kindness. Ahmed noticed the man's weary appearance and immediately offered him water and a place to rest. The traveler gratefully accepted, and as they sat together, Ahmed shared his modest meal with the stranger. As they ate, the traveler began to speak. "I have traveled far and wide," he said, his voice soft but strong. "I have seen many lands and met many people. Everywhere I go, I find that those who hold on to their faith, even in the hardest of times, are the ones who find true peace and happiness." Ahmed listened intently, absorbing the traveler's words. "Patience is a virtue bestowed upon those who truly believe," the traveler continued. "Allah tests us, but He also provides for us. The drought you are experiencing is a test of your faith and patience. Trust in Allah, and He will guide you through." The traveler's words resonated deeply with Ahmed. Inspired by the man's wisdom, Ahmed continued to work his land with renewed determination. Each day, he would rise early, tending to his fields and caring for his animals. He knew that his efforts, combined with his unwavering faith, would eventually bring about change. As the weeks passed, the drought showed no signs of relenting. The villagers' despair grew, but Ahmed remained a beacon of hope. He continued to share his meager resources with those in need, always offering a kind word or a helping hand. His actions inspired others to do the same, and slowly the village began to come together, united by a shared sense of purpose and faith. One day, as Ahmed was working in his field, he noticed a small green shoot emerging from the dry soil. It was a sign of life, a testament to the resilience of nature and the power of hope. Ahmed knelt down, gently touching the tender shoot, and whispered a prayer of gratitude. He knew that this small sign was a reminder from Allah that there was always hope, even in the darkest of times. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, more green shoots began to appear. The villagers, encouraged by these signs of life, redoubled their efforts to care for the land. They worked together, sharing knowledge and resources, and slowly but surely, the fields began to recover. One evening, as Ahmed sat on his porch watching the sunset, he felt a deep sense of peace. He knew that the journey had been difficult, but his faith had sustained him. The traveler's words had been a guiding light, reminding him of the importance of patience and trust in Allah's plan. Ahmed's family too found comfort in his steadfast faith, His wife, Fatima, supported him every step of the way. She managed the household with grace and strength, ensuring their children were well cared for and instilling in them the same values of faith and perseverance. Their children, Amina and Hassan, learned to appreciate the small blessings in life and to trust in Allah's wisdom. They helped their father in the fields, their small hands working diligently alongside his, and found joy in the simplest of things. A cool breeze, a rare flower blooming amidst the drought, or the laughter shared around the dinner table. The community of Nurabad was closely knit, and Ahmed's example began to influence others. His neighbor, Yusuf, who had initially lost hope, started to regain his faith. He often visited Ahmed, and they would talk late into the night about their dreams for the future and their trust in Allah. Together, they would discuss ways to make the most of their limited resources, sharing seeds, tools, and techniques to help each other's crops survive. As time went on, Ahmed's farm began to show signs of life. The plants that had managed to survive the harsh conditions started to grow stronger. Ahmed carefully tended to each one, ensuring they received the water and nutrients they needed. He often spoke to the plants, his voice filled with encouragement and hope, believing that his positive energy would help them thrive. The old traveler, who had brought wisdom and hope into Ahmed's life, continued his journey, but his words left a lasting impact. Ahmed often thought of him and the message he had shared. Whenever he felt his resolve weakening, he would remember the traveler's advice and find strength in his faith. The story of the traveler's visit spread throughout the village, becoming a source of inspiration for many. One particularly hot afternoon, as Ahmed was working in his field, a group of villagers approached him. They had heard about the small green shoots and wanted to see for themselves. Ahmed welcomed them warmly and showed them the progress. The villagers were amazed and inspired by what they saw. The small green shoots were a testament to the power of faith and perseverance. They realized that if Ahmed could bring life back to his farm, they too could find a way to overcome the drought. Motivated by Ahmed's success, the villagers decided to come together and work as a community. They pooled their resources, shared knowledge, and supported each other. Ahmed, with his deep understanding of farming and his unwavering faith, became a leader and mentor to many. He organized meetings where they would discuss strategies to conserve water, improve soil quality, and protect their crops from the harsh sun. One of the most significant changes was the construction of a new irrigation system using the little water. They created an efficient system to distribute water evenly across their fields. This required hard work and dedication, but the villagers were determined. They dug trenches, built channels, and set up reservoirs, all under Ahmed's guidance. The new system made a noticeable difference, allowing the crops to receive a consistent supply of water. As the village continued to work together, a sense of unity and camaraderie grew. People who had once been strangers became friends, bonded by their shared struggle and collective efforts. They helped each other with tasks, shared meals, and supported one another emotionally. The village of Nurabad began to transform, not just physically, but also in spirit. One evening, as the village gathered for their regular meeting, a miracle occurred. Dark clouds began to form on the horizon. The air grew cooler and a gentle breeze swept through the village. The villagers looked up in awe and hope. Could it be that their prayers were finally being answered? As the first drops of rain fell, a cheer erupted from the crowd. The rain started to pour, soaking the dry earth and bringing life back to the land. Ahmed stood in the rain, tears of joy mingling with the raindrops on his face. He raised his hands to the sky and offered a prayer of thanks. The rain was a sign of Allah's mercy, a reward for their patience and faith. The villagers danced and celebrated, their hearts filled with gratitude. The drought had tested them, but their faith had carried them through. In the following days, the village was a flurry of activity. The rain had revitalized the fields, and the crops began to grow at an astonishing rate. The river, once a mere trickle, flowed freely once more. The villagers worked tirelessly, tending to their fields and ensuring that every plant received the care it needed. The sense of hope and optimism was palpable. Ahmed's farm, which had been the first to show signs of recovery, now flourished. The small green shoots had grown into healthy plants bearing fruits and vegetables. The orchard trees were laden with ripe, juicy fruits, and the fields were a vibrant green. Ahmed's hard work and faith had paid off, and his farm was now a symbol of resilience and hope for the entire village. The transformation of Nurabad was nothing short of miraculous. The village, once gripped by despair, was now a thriving community filled with life and hope. The villagers had learned valuable lessons about the power of faith, patience, and unity. They knew that no matter how difficult the circumstances, they could overcome any challenge by working together and trusting in Allah. Ahmed's story spread far and wide, inspiring others to live by the principles of Islam: patience in hardship, faith in Allah's plan, and generosity towards others. Nurabad flourished not just because of its fertile land, but because of the deep-rooted values that Ahmed had sown in the hearts of its people. Through patience and trust in Allah, Ahmed had transformed not only his own life, but also the lives of those around him, creating a community bound by love, faith, and mutual support. As the drought persisted, Ahmed's faith never wavered. He continued his prayers and worked tirelessly, helping his neighbors and sharing his meager resources. Each day he would rise before dawn, his heart filled with hope and determination. He would walk to the mosque, the cool morning air, a stark contrast to the scorching heat of the day, and offer his prayers to Allah. In those quiet moments of solitude and reflection, Ahmed found the strength to face the challenges that lay ahead. One night, after a long day of toil, Ahmed had a dream. In his dream, he saw a vast field, lush and green, stretching out under a bright golden sun. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the sound of birds singing joyfully. Ahmed walked through the field, feeling the soft grass beneath his feet and the warmth of the sun on his skin. As he reached the center of the field, he saw a wellspring of clear, sparkling water bubbling up from the ground. Ahmed awoke with a sense of peace and a firm belief that relief was near. The next day, as Ahmed was working in his fields, he noticed dark clouds gathering on the horizon. The sky, which had been relentlessly cloudless and blue for months, was now filled with ominous heavy clouds. The air grew thick with anticipation, and a cool breeze began to blow. Ahmed paused in his work, looking up at the sky with a sense of awe and hope. As the afternoon turned into evening, the first drops of rain began to fall. The rain was gentle at first, a light drizzle that gradually grew heavier. The parched earth soaked up the water greedily, the dry soil turning dark and rich with moisture. The villagers, who had been watching the sky with bated breath, erupted into cheers and shouts of joy. Children ran out into the streets, dancing and playing in the rain, their laughter echoing through the village. Ahmed stood in his field, letting the rain wash over him, his heart filled with gratitude. He saw the rain as a sign of Allah's mercy and a reward for his unwavering faith. He whispered a prayer of thanks, feeling a deep connection to the divine. The rain continued to fall throughout the night, drenching the parched earth and bringing new life to the land. In the following weeks, the transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The once barren land began to flourish, the fields turning a vibrant green. Crops that had been on the brink of death sprang back to life, their leaves unfurling and their stems growing strong. The river, which had been reduced to a mere trickle, swelled with the rainwater, flowing freely once more. The villagers, inspired by Ahmed's steadfastness, also found renewed hope and faith. They came together, helping each other rebuild and replant. They worked side by side, their spirits lifted by the promise of a bountiful harvest. The community, which had been fragmented by despair, was now united by a shared sense of purpose and faith. Ahmed's farm, which had always been the heart of Nurabad, was now a symbol of resilience and hope. The fields, lush and green, were a testament to the power of faith and the strength of the human spirit. The villagers often gathered at Ahmed's farm, sharing stories and laughter, their hearts filled with gratitude. The old traveler's words continued to echo in Ahmed's mind, reminding him of the importance of patience and trust in Allah's plan. The dream he had seen was now a reality, a testament to the miracle of faith. The fields, once barren and desolate, were now a vibrant, living testament to the power of patience and trust in Allah's plan. One day, as Ahmed was walking through his fields, he noticed something extraordinary. Among the thriving plants, there was one particular plant that stood out. It was a rose bush, its blooms a deep, vibrant red. The rose bush had not been there before, and Ahmed saw it as a special sign of Allah's blessing. He knelt down beside it, marveling at its beauty and the way it had flourished amidst the other crops. Ahmed decided to take extra care of the rose bush, nurturing it with the same love and attention. He gave the rest of his farm as he tended to it. He felt a deep sense of connection to Allah and a renewed sense of purpose. The rose bush became a symbol of his faith and the miracle of life that had been restored to his land. The village of Nurabad continued to thrive, its people united by the lessons they had learned during the drought. They had come to understand the true meaning of community and the importance of supporting one another. They worked together, shared resources, and looked out for each other, creating a strong and resilient community. One evening, as the sun was setting and casting a golden glow over the villagers gathered at Ahmed's farm for a special celebration. They had decided to honor Ahmed for his unwavering faith and the example he had set for everyone. The celebration was filled with joy and gratitude, the villagers expressing their appreciation for Ahmed's leadership and kindness. As they gathered around the rosebush, now in full bloom, Ahmed spoke to them about the journey they had all been through. "This rosebush," he said, "is a reminder of the beauty that can come from hardship. It represents our faith, our resilience, and the blessings that Allah has bestowed upon us. Let us always remember to trust in Allah's plan and to support one another through any challenges we may face." The villagers nodded in agreement, their hearts filled with admiration for Ahmed. They knew that his faith and perseverance had been a guiding light during the darkest times. The celebration continued late into the night, the village square filled with music, laughter, and the warmth of a community bound by love and faith. Ahmed's story spread beyond the village, inspiring others to live by the principles of Islam: patience in hardship, faith in Allah's plan, and generosity towards others. Nurabad flourished not just because of its fertile land, but because of the deep-rooted values that Ahmed had sown in the hearts of its people. Through patience and trust in Allah, Ahmed had transformed not only his own life, but also the lives of those around him, creating a community bound by love, faith, and mutual support. With his farm thriving once more, Ahmed found himself blessed with an abundant harvest. The crops, nourished by the much-needed rain and the careful tending of Ahmed's hands, grew tall and strong. The trees in his orchard were heavy with fruits, their branches bowing under the weight of ripe apples, oranges, and pomegranates. The fields were a patchwork of vibrant colors, with rows of tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers stretching as far as the eye could see. Ahmed's heart swelled with gratitude. He knew that this abundance was not just a result of his hard work, but a gift from Allah. He decided that it was only right to share his bounty with the villagers who had stood by him during the hard times. He began to plan a grand feast, envisioning a day where everyone in Nurabad could come together to celebrate their resilience and unity. News of the feast spread quickly through the village. The villagers, excited by the prospect of a celebration, began to prepare in earnest. Women gathered in groups to cook and bake, their kitchens filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and simmering stews. Men worked together to set up tables and chairs in the village square, stringing up lanterns and decorations to create a festive atmosphere. Children, their eyes wide with anticipation, helped where they could, their laughter ringing through the air. On the day of the feast, the village square was a sight to behold. Long tables covered with brightly colored cloths were laden with an array of dishes. There were steaming pots of biryani, plates piled high with samosas, and bowls of fresh salads. The sweet scent of baklava and halwa mingled with the savory aroma of grilled kebabs and roasted vegetables. The air was filled with the hum of conversation and laughter, the villagers' spirits high with the joy of the occasion. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden glow over the square, Ahmed stood up to address the crowd. He looked out at the faces of his friends and neighbors, feeling a deep sense of connection and gratitude. "My dear friends," he began, his voice steady and clear, "today we gather to celebrate not just the abundance of the harvest, but the strength and unity of our community. We have faced many challenges, but through patience, faith, and kindness, we have overcome them. Let us always remember the importance of helping one another and trusting in Allah's plan." The villagers erupted into applause, their hearts warmed by Ahmed's words. They knew that his generosity and wisdom had been a guiding light during the difficult times, and they were grateful for his leadership. As the feast began, the square was filled with the sounds of clinking glasses and joyful chatter. People shared stories and laughter, their bonds strengthened by the shared experience of hardship and recovery. During the feast, Ahmed noticed a young boy named Ali, who seemed particularly joyous. Ahmed approached him, intrigued by the boy's happiness. Ali, his eyes shining with excitement, told Ahmed about his family's struggles during the drought. They had barely had enough to eat, and Ali's parents had been worried about how they would survive. But Ahmed's generosity, sharing his resources and offering words of encouragement, had given them hope and sustenance. Ali's family had managed to get through the tough times, and now, with the abundance of the harvest, they felt secure once more. Touched by Ali's words, Ahmed felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He realized that the true impact of his actions went beyond the immediate relief he had provided. His faith and generosity had not only sustained his own family, but had also uplifted his entire community. The feast became a symbol of the power of kindness and the importance of supporting one another. As the night wore on, the villagers continued to celebrate, their hearts full of gratitude and joy. The feast became an annual tradition in Nurabad, a time for the community to come together and celebrate their shared values. Each year, the event grew larger, drawing people from neighboring villages who were inspired by the story of Ahmed and the resilience of Nurabad. In the years that followed, Ahmed's farm continued to thrive, becoming a beacon of hope and inspiration. The lessons of patience, faith, and generosity that he had imparted to the villagers became deeply ingrained in the community's fabric. People helped one another without hesitation, their bonds strengthened by the shared experiences of the past. Ahmed himself became a revered figure in the village, his wisdom sought by many. He continued to live a life of simplicity and faith, always ready to offer a helping hand or a word of advice. His story spread far and wide, inspiring others to live by the principles of Islam and to trust in the wisdom of Allah's plan. One evening, many years after the first grand feast, Ahmed sat on his porch, watching the sunset. The village square was once again filled with the sounds of celebration as the villagers prepared for the annual feast. Ahmed felt a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. He knew that his journey, filled with trials and triumphs, had made a lasting impact on the lives of those around him. As Ahmed reminisced about the past, his thoughts wandered to the moments of struggle and perseverance that had defined his life. He remembered the drought that had once threatened to destroy everything he had worked for, and the unwavering faith that had carried him through those difficult times. He recalled the faces of the villagers who had come to him for guidance and support, and the way their eyes had lit up with hope and determination. His wife Fatima joined him on the porch, bringing with her a tray of tea. She sat beside him, her presence a comforting and familiar anchor. Together they watched as the villagers danced and sang, their spirits high with joy and gratitude. Fatima took Ahmed's hand in hers, and they shared a quiet moment of reflection, grateful for the life they had built together. The rose bush, which had become a symbol of their faith and perseverance, stood in full bloom in the garden. Its vibrant red flowers were a testament to the beauty that could emerge from hardship. Ahmed smiled as he looked at the rosebush, remembering the day he had first discovered it among the thriving plants. It had been a sign from Allah, a reminder of the miracles that faith and patience could bring. The village children, now grown, had taken on the responsibility of organizing the annual feast. They had been inspired by Ahmed's example and were determined to continue the tradition of generosity and community spirit. They worked tirelessly to ensure that the celebration was a success. Their dedication and enthusiasm, a reflection of the values that Ahmed had instilled in them. As the evening turned into night, the sky was lit up with 1,000 stars. The villagers gathered around a large bonfire, sharing stories and singing songs. The warmth of the fire and the camaraderie of the community created a sense of belonging and unity. Ahmed watched with pride as the younger generation took center stage, leading the festivities with confidence and joy. One of the highlights of the evening was the storytelling session. The villagers took turns recounting tales of resilience, faith, and kindness, each story a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Ahmed's story, in particular, had become a cherished part of the village's oral tradition. As he listened to the younger generation retell his journey, Ahmed felt a deep sense of fulfillment. His legacy was not just in the thriving fields or the annual feast, but in the hearts and minds of the people he had inspired. The village elders, who had witnessed the transformation of Nurabad, spoke of the importance of community and the values that had guided them through difficult times. They reminded the villagers that the true strength of Nurabad lay in its people and their unwavering faith in Allah's plan. Their words resonated deeply, reinforcing the bonds that held the community together. As the night wore on, the villagers began to retire to their homes, their hearts full of joy and contentment. Ahmed and Fatima remained on the porch, watching as the village square gradually emptied. The soft glow of the lanterns and the distant sound of laughter created a serene and peaceful atmosphere. Fatima turned to Ahmed, her eyes filled with love and admiration. "You have given so much to this village," she said softly. "Your faith and generosity have touched so many lives." Ahmed smiled, his heart swelling with gratitude. "We have done it together," he replied. "Our faith in Allah and our love for each other have been our guiding lights. This village is a testament to what we can achieve when we trust in Allah's plan and support one another." In the quiet moments that followed, Ahmed and Fatima sat together, their hearts filled with a deep sense of peace. They knew that the journey had not been easy, but their faith had carried them through. They had created a legacy of love, faith, and generosity that would continue to inspire future generations. The following morning, as the sun rose over Nurabad, the village was once again bustling with activity. The fields, lush and green, were a testament to the hard work and dedication of the villagers. The river, flowing freely, provided the lifeblood that sustained the land. The village itself was a thriving community, bound by the values of faith, patience, and generosity. Ahmed walked through his fields, his heart filled with gratitude for the blessings he had received. He knew that the true measure of success was not in the abundance of the harvest, but in the strength of the community and the bonds that held it together. As he tended to his crops, he whispered a prayer of thanks, feeling a deep connection to Allah and the land that had sustained him. The annual feast had become a symbol of Nurabad's resilience and unity. It was a time for the villagers to come together, celebrate their shared values, and reaffirm their commitment to supporting one another. Each year the event grew larger, drawing people from neighboring villages who were inspired by the story of Ahmed and the strength of Nurabad. Ahmed's legacy lived on, a testament to the power of faith and the beauty of a generous heart. Through patience and trust in Allah, he had transformed not only his own life, but also the lives of those around him. Nurabad continued to flourish, not just because of its fertile land, but because of the deep-rooted values that Ahmed had sown in the hearts of its people. As the years passed, Ahmed remained a revered figure in the village, his wisdom and guidance sought by many. He continued to live a life of simplicity and faith, always ready to offer a helping hand or a word of advice. His story spread far and wide, inspiring others to live by the principles of Islam and to trust in the wisdom of Allah's plan. One evening, as the sun set over the village, casting a golden glow over the fields, Ahmed sat on his porch, watching the beauty of the world around him. He felt a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, knowing that his life had made a difference. The village of Nurabad, with its thriving fields and strong community, was a living testament to the power of faith, patience, and generosity. The legacy of Ahmed the farmer lived on, a shining example of what could be achieved through faith and perseverance. Nurabad flourished, not just because of its fertile land, but because of the deep-rooted values that Ahmed had sown in the hearts of its people. And so the village continued to thrive, a testament to the power of faith, kindness, and community.